Hi guys, welcome to this tutorial on PowerShell basics. What is PowerShell? PowerShell is a task automation and configuration management framework from Microsoft, consisting of command line shell, associated scripting language built on .NET Framework and .NET Core. Initially a Windows component only, PowerShell has been made open source and cross-platform since 18th August 2016. PowerShell provides full access to COM and WMI, enabling administrators to perform administrative tasks on both Linux and remote Windows systems, as well as WS management and SIM enabling management for remote Linux systems and network devices. Virtualization companies like VMware provide PowerShell snap-ins which can be loaded into PowerShell, making PowerShell capable of managing virtualized environment as well. Today, you can manage virtually any device in your data center, gather data from the monitoring tools, service management tools, and take automated actions all using PowerShell. Any system post on the Windows 2008 R2 can be easily managed by using PowerShell. PowerShell includes its own extensive console-based help similar to man pages in Unix, accessible via the get help commandlet. Local help contents can be retrieved from internet via the update help commandlet, which we will see later. Alternatively, help from the web can be acquired on a case-to-case basis via the -online switch of get help. Now we will go deep into PowerShell and see how to use it. PowerShell has two interfaces. One, the command window, just like your DOS command window, and the other, which is a kind of development interface where you get a text editor along with a command window so that you can code and then you can execute your scripts and see the output. So there are two options that are available when you are working with PowerShell. Now let's see how do we open the PowerShell window and start working on it. So as I told, there are two options. This will be the command prompt, command line PowerShell, and this will be the ISE. So let's open the command line PowerShell and see how it looks. So this is how your command line looks. It looks similar to your DOS command line, and you can execute any DOS command as well in this window. Okay, so I just executed the dir command, as well as you can execute PowerShell commandlets. So this is a get process is a PowerShell commandlet that will list you all the processes running on the system. So both can be done using this PowerShell window. Okay, and now let's try to find out the version of PowerShell. Before that, there are currently 5 versions of PowerShell which are available, version 1.0 to 5.0, the latest being 5.0. So let's check what runs on my system. So here you go. So here you see my PowerShell version is 5.1.14393.1358. So these are built, but we call the version being 5. It's a desktop edition and it is compatible with 1, 2, 3, 4. So there is always backward compatibility that is present. Okay, so this is how you see the version of your PowerShell using $ps version table. And one more important thing, PowerShell is not case sensitive, so I can even give $ps version table, it will still give me a output. So it is not case sensitive, so that way it is very easy on you when you are working with PowerShell. When you work with PowerShell, you will hear a word called commandlet. So what is a commandlet? Commandlet is a lightweight command that is used in the Windows PowerShell environment. So for example, get process. So how do you know whether it's a command, a PowerShell command, or a commandlet, or a function, or an alias? So we have a commandlet called get command that will list you all the available. See, you can see these are some of the are functions. So some of them are commandlets. So that is how you will see it. So basically these are all .NET codes. You can write your own code and add to the commandlet or the function or alias and start calling them. Okay. Only thing is that they should be in the right path so that when you run it, PowerShell will be able to pick it up. So let's see how many built-in aliases, functions and commandlets PowerShell has given us. So we can just say get command pipe. Pipe is the standard symbol or the standard, it performs what the same operation as it performs on Unix. So I'll say measure object. So here you see there are 1486 commandlet, functions and aliases combined together in your PowerShell. Okay, so this is one way to find it. Other way is get command dot count. So you will still get the same number 1486. So this is a built-in function that is available to get the count. Now let's see how many commandlets are available with PowerShell. So it will list only the commandlets, or if you want the count, so there are about 620 commandlets that are present in PowerShell. So this is how you find the count. So that's something. So now we will close this interface and we will look at the ISE. Okay, so normally when I work on PowerShell, I always use the ISE. So that's more friendlier for me. You get a list of commandlets on the right side, and then you have an editor window and you have a command line window. So everything is there. So it's very easy to work with that. Okay, but before that, we will look at another great command that is available in PowerShell. That's the get help command. So it is like the man pages. So any command you want to see, or any commandlet or a function, anything you want to see the help, you can use the get help command. So get hyphen help any command. For example, here let's pick up write output. So it will give you all the things that you need to know about write output. So what does it do? What is the syntax? What is the description? What is the related commands and related URL where you can see. Okay, so here it will just give the brief. Okay, there is a name, synopsis, syntax, description, related read and remarks. So you want more. So I can say minus detailed. So it will give me more. It will even give the examples, the parameters, description. Okay, so that it becomes easier. So if you just want the examples, you don't want to know too much, I can say get help example. So it will give you examples alone for this command, which is write host. Basically it is nothing like, it is a echo kind of a command where it will echo the output. So that's one. So then we can also see, if you want more things, you can also see full. Okay, here the difference is you will also get the input and output. So what is the input? Input is a partial object. What is the output? Again, it's a object. So it takes in an object and it gives out an object. So what is an object? Object is like, for example, get process. We will see that later on how to process. So this entire output is an object. Okay, so it could be an array, it could be a string, it could be a hash table, okay, anything. So basically that's how PowerShell processes it. So it considers this to be an object. Okay, now we will close this window and then we are going to open the ISE window, or we will keep it aside. We are going to open the ISE window and see how it looks. So normally when I open the ISE window, I run it as administrator. Okay, that gives me more privileges to run the commands. Otherwise, some of them may not work properly. Okay, so here you have the ISE window coming up. So this is how your ISE window looks. So here you have all your commands that you can use. See, if you have a PowerShell script, that also comes here automatically. Okay, here you have the command line, and here you will have the commands to type in, or rather the script to type in. Let's say get hyphen process, for example, or something, whatever. So here you can do the thing. Okay, so this is how your ISE window looks like. Okay, now I'll write a simple script. Let's say get process. It automatically gives you the possibilities. See, so this is very good actually when you work with. And then I will save it. In my Google Drive, some name, my first PRG. Okay, now let me execute it. Run the script. So you got a error which says security error, unauthorized access. Okay, let's see what it means, because it says it cannot load it, right? Because script running is disabled in the system. That's a security feature that is available in PowerShell. Okay, how do we change this? So there's something called execution policies. So let's see what is an execution. I'll say just say get see, this is very helpful. I'll say just get execution policy. Enter. So I have my execution policy is restricted. So there are 4 kinds of execution policies that is available in PowerShell. So first is restricted, in which no scripts will be run. PowerShell can only be used in an interactive mode. That's the number 1. Second thing is you have all signed, which means only the scripts that is signed by a trusted publisher can be run. Okay, so you have to sign each and every script using your certificate, then only you can run. Then you have the remote signed, which means downloaded scripts must be signed by a trusted publisher. So anything you download, there are a lot of, since it's an open source, there are a lot of scripts which are available on the net. So if when you and new modules and snap-ins which users have developed are available, so you can download and use them, but it will only run if it is signed. And the fourth one is unrestricted, which means there is no restriction at all to run the PowerShell script, so anybody can run any script, okay, which is not good, which is basically not good, because I can write some malicious program, upload it as stating that this is going to perform some other function, somebody downloads it and runs it, it can cause havoc, okay, and there is no responsibility because it's not basically signed by anyone, okay. So that's how it is. So how do you set an execution policy? I'll say set execution policy. So what do I want to set it as? I want to set it to, let's assume for now, unrestricted. So now what happens? It will give me a warning that says execution policy helps you protect your scripts that you do not trust. Changing the execution policy might expose you to security risks described in the document. Do you want to really change it? So I can say yes. So now it has changed. Now I can run this program. So I got the get process output. So let me close this for the moment. So this is how the output looks, okay. So I am running a program which is my first program.ps1. It gives me the output, okay. So this is where how you work. Now we will go ahead and see how to create a certificate and sign your scripts. Let's see if what happens when I run make cert. So it is not a available command is what it says. So basically what has happened is we will have make cert, okay, let's and but only thing is that will not be added into the path. Now let's go find out where the make cert exists. So make cert actually exists in your Visual Studio Tools path. So it is in program files x86 Windows Kit 8.1 bin x86. So here you have the make cert. So let's now try to make a certificate from this make cert command. So first we will create a root certificate, and from that we are going to create a user certificate. So for that we will have to again start with the command prompt. I'll run that as administrator so that there are no problems later on. So I have to go to the location where it is present. Program files Windows Kits 8.1 bin x86. I'll go here. I'm going to run the make cert command. So it's going to ask you a password. So let's say PowerShell. Okay. Now another password for the private key. I'll give the same password, PowerShell. So it has succeeded. Now we will go and create. Now this has been created under root certificates. Okay, so let's see whether it has come in our certificates. Yeah. Trusted. So you have PowerShell local certificate root. Okay, so in fact, yeah, so this is something which I created. So this we will use the first one. So we have given the name. Now the root certificate has been created. Now we will create a user certificate for the same. So issue or signature, PowerShell. So done. Now I have created a personal certificate of my own. How do I check it? I can go to personal certificates. I'll see PowerShell user certificate. So this is there. So how do I? Now this certificate is created. I can close this. I'll go back here and verify. So there's an option, get child item cert, child item cert. So where is the certificate located? It is located in current user. That's the default location where it creates. So I see one certificate which is there, C in PowerShell. So we have created a self certificate. So we got a error, right? So when we ran this initially and then we set the execution policy to unrestricted. Now let us do it to all signed. I'll say yes. So now the execution policy is set to all signed. So let's now execute. It would still not run. Now it should again give an error. Okay, because it is all signed and we have still not signed our certificate. So now let's sign our certificate. How do we sign our certificate? So there is a say dot slash, okay, this is my thing, $cert. Okay, now it's done. So I have signed my this thing. So if you want to check, we can use get authentic code of this. So it is signed. Now if I run this, it says is run by this power which is not trusted, you want to. So I can say always run. So once it's done, now you can run scripts which are signed by that particular certificate authority. So this is how you sign a certificate. This is very important. Now we have set up with our PowerShell ISE. We know how to use the PowerShell command prompt, how to generate a certificate, and most importantly the get help and the get commandlets which we can use to get help on any of the commandlets or functions or aliases that is present in PowerShell. Okay. Next we will go ahead and see how do we actually go about coding or scripting in PowerShell.